I want you to do something for me right now. Pull out your phone.
Okay, I've got mine.
Unlock it. Look at the screen. What do you see?
A grid.
A grid, exactly. A grid of little colorful squares, rows and columns of icons. And for the last, 15 years, we have been trained like pigeons to peck at these things.
It's totally Pavlovian at this point.
It is. You see a little red circle with the number 1, peck. A green bubble pops up, peck. You see a blue bird. Well, an X now, but you get my point.
You peck.
You peck. But now, I want you to imagine the next version of that phone. And it has nothing. No grid, no icons, none of these apps as we know them. It's just a voice maybe, or a super clean, simple interface that just asks you one question. What do you want to do?
It sounds like a minimalist's dream, you know? Or maybe a total nightmare if you're a UI designer who makes a living creating those little icons.
Right. But the thing is, this isn't some far-off hypothetical scenario anymore. We are, and I really believe this, we're standing on the edge of a cliff. We're looking down at the end of the App Store era.
We really are.
And that is the massive, huge thesis we are going to try and unpack today in this deep dive. We're not talking about a simple software update. This isn't iOS 19 or, Android, whatever they're calling it now.
Not even close.
We are talking about the death of the App Store and the rise of the Agent Store.
I love that phrase. The App Store is dead. Long live the Agent Store. Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Satosha.
And I'm Satoshi. It's a perfect way to frame it. It's a transition from what we would call a managed app ecosystem.
Okay, what's that?
It's where you are the project manager of your own life. You have to open the calendar app, then the airline app, then the weather app. You're the one managing everything.
And we're moving from that to, what did you call it?
A transactional agent marketplace. Transactional agent marketplace, that's a mouthful. We are definitely going to need to break that down. But the core idea seems to be this shift from telling our devices how to do things. Step by step. Open Uber, type in this address, confirm the car, wait.
All the little steps.
To just telling them what we want. Get me to the airport. And the device, the agent, it figures out the rest.
Exactly. It's the huge difference between instruction and intent. And honestly, it's about time. Think about it. We have been really stuck, in the same interaction paradigm since, 2007?
The page of icons paradigm.
The page of icons, yes. I mean, the screens got sharper, the processors got way faster, the cameras are unbelievable now, but the core loop is exactly the same. Tap an icon, wait for it to load, perform a task, close the app, repeat.
It is kind of stagnant when you put it like that.
It's totally stagnant. And that stagnation has created this ceiling of complexity. We are drowning in notifications and subscriptions and constant updates. The Agent Store is the sledgehammer that's about to break through that ceiling.
So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to trace this entire revolution. We're going to go all the way back to the wilderness years of Steve Jobs in the 80s.
Oh, the next T years. I love that stuff.
We're even going to get into the weeds of Linux package managers. And I promise, step with us, because it actually explains why your Siri is so dumb.
It really does. It's all connected.
And then we're going to look at the new financial rails being built specifically for robots to use. But before we get into all that heavy lifting, I have a very, very specific ask for you listening right now.
Here comes the pitch.
Hey, you know how we operate. We are an audio-first show. We love the intimacy of audio, just talking directly to you. We thrive on platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Fountain.fm. If you're listening there, you are our core crew, and we genuinely appreciate you.
We do have a YouTube channel, of course.
Yeah.
But let's be real. The algorithm there, it demands a certain shuck-face thumbnail energy.
Yeah, that's not us.
We just don't possess that energy.
It's exhausting just thinking about it. However, we do have a goal. We want to start creating really high-quality animated explainer videos for YouTube. Beautiful, deep-dive videos that can help visualize some of these really complex topics.
Yeah, some of this stuff would be amazing to see animated.
But to do that properly, without selling our souls to clickbait, we need better tools. And specifically, we are trying to fund a subscription to the Mosaic AI video editor.
And we have to say, we've tested Mosaic AI firsthand. It is. It's not an exaggeration to say it's a paradigm shift in video editing.
Yeah.
It uses generative AI to handle all the B-roll, the pacing, the animations, but in a way that feels human, not robotic. It lets us focus on the story.
It's incredible, but it is not free. So here's the deal. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel to help us fund this tool. If you want to see the deep dive, make that leap into video, please go to YouTube, hit subscribe, help us unlock the Mosaic AI era for the show.
Okay, business over. Let's get back to the revolution.
Let's do it.
All right, drum roll, please. The agent store. Let's start with some definitions. I think we all know what an app store is. I go there, I search for a thing, I buy it, I download it. Simple. What is an agent store?
To really get the agent store, you have to look at the unit of value.
The unit of value. Okay.
In an app store, the value is the application itself. It's the tool. You're buying the hammer, you download the hammer, you put it in your little digital tool belt, and you carry it around until you see a nail you need to hit.
And I have to be the one to swing it.
Correct. You have to do all the work. In an agent store, the unit of value is the autonomous agent. You are not buying the hammer, you are hiring the carpenter. Oh, I love that distinction. That's really clear. So instead of me buying a flight booking app, I'm accessing a travel agent that uses the flight booking app on my behalf.
Precisely. The apps themselves don't go away. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
They just become tools for the agents.
Yeah.
And this is that shift we mentioned from managed app ecosystems to transactional agent marketplaces.
Right.
In the current model, the App Store, you have one-time fees, you have in-app purchases, or more and more, you have subscriptions.
Yeah.
But the crucial part is that the software just sits there, waiting for you to drive it. It requires constant human instruction.
Yeah, if I don't open my food delivery app, it does nothing. It's totally inert. It just sits on my screen.
Exactly. In the agent store model, the agents are what some are calling autonomous economic actors.
Wow. Okay, that sounds like something out of science fiction. Autonomous economic actors.
It does, but it's the core of the idea. They can negotiate value, they can discover new services, and they can settle payments. All without you hovering over them and approving every single step.
It sounds like my phone is going to have its own bank account and maybe start a side hustle.
In a way, yeah, it will. And we will get to the financial rails later because that is a huge, huge piece of this puzzle. But first, think about the flywheel effect. This is the key to why this is such a big platform shift.
Okay, the flywheel effect. We've seen this before, right?
Yeah, we saw it with Windows in the 90s and then with the iPhone in the 2000s. It wasn't just that the hardware was good. I mean, Windows didn't have the best UI. And the very first iPhone, it didn't even have 3G or copy-paste.
I remember that. It was maddening. You couldn't copy a phone number.
Right. But what they both had was a software availability flywheel. More software drove more users to the platform, which in turn drove more developers to make software for it, which created more software. It just spins faster and faster.
And that's the prediction here. The platform that builds the agent store gets the new flywheel going.
Correct. The entity that defines the infrastructure for this agentic commerce, the one that combines the cognitive capabilities of AI with the financial rails to let them actually buy things, that entity wins the next 20 years of computing, period.
So the winner isn't necessarily the company with the smartest, most poetic AI chatbot.
Not at all.
It's the one who builds the store where all the chatbots can go to do business.
Precisely. It's always the infrastructure play. It's about owning the marketplace.
Okay, so to understand where we're going, we usually have to look back at where we came from. And this story, I found this really surprising. It takes us all the way back to the 1980s.
Yeah.
To the wilderness years of Steve Jobs.
The next T years. This is one of my favorite chapters in tech history, honestly, because the seeds of the iPhone, and frankly, the seeds of this whole agent revolution were planted right there in the mid-'80s.
So just to set the scene, Jobs gets kicked out of Apple in 1985. He's furious, he's motivated, he starts a new company, Next T, and he's not just trying to build a new computer, he's trying to completely rethink how software is built.
Yeah, he was obsessed with this idea he called interpersonal computing. He wanted computers to be tools for collaboration and communication. But the real technical breakthrough was Next Step, which was the operating system for the Next computer.
And what was so special about it?
Jobs realized that the main bottleneck in creating great software wasn't the hardware speed, it was the developer's time. Specifically, building the user interfaces, the buttons, the menus, the windows, was incredibly hard and time-consuming.
You had to write code for every single pixel, basically. It took forever.
It took forever. So Next Step introduced this dynamic, object-oriented programming model. It treated software components as these discrete, reusable, interacting entities. It gave developers building blocks.
So they didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Exactly. Now, fast forward to the 1997 Mac World Expo. This is the famous one. Apple has just bought NXT. Jobs is back on stage as an advisor. And he does this demo where he shows that using the OpenStep framework, which was NXT technology, a developer could build an enterprise app in 10% of the time it used to take.
10%. That's not an incremental improvement. That's an order of magnitude. That's the difference between a project taking a year and it taking a little over a month.
It was a revolution for developers.
Yeah.
And that whole philosophy, called it orchestration, giving developers these powerful, pre-built capabilities to assemble. And those frameworks, those NXT frameworks, eventually became Cocoa and Cocoa Touch in macOS and iOS.
The foundation of the modern Apple ecosystem.
Absolutely. And when the iPhone launched, the reason it had such a rich app store so quickly was because of this foundation. The iPhone was the ultimate expression of that orchestration philosophy. It was a walled garden, sure, but one where everything played nice together because they were all built from the same set of high-quality blocks.
And that walled garden, of course, came with a toll booth. The infamous Apple tax.
The 30% cut.
Right. Everyone complains about it now. Developers scream about it. Governments are investigating it. But where did it even come from? Was it just, corporate greed from day one?
Not originally, no. It was actually modeled directly on the iTunes store. You have to remember, back in the early 2000s, to get the record labels to agree to sell digital music, Jobs had to create a dead simple model. 99 cents a song. That's it.
And Apple's cut of that was to cover the costs.
Yeah, to cover the credit card fees, the server costs, the platform maintenance. It was the price of a frictionless marketplace. So when the App Store launched in 2008, they copied that same model.
And it broke the logjam for mobile software, just like it did for music.
Exactly. Apple positioned itself as the software platform steward. That 30% covers payment processing, discovery through the store. And maybe most importantly, keeping the ecosystem secure with sandboxing. And you can't argue with the results. Look at the lock-in it created.
Oh, the lock-in is so real. I was looking at a stat in our notes. For 2024, the iOS ecosystem retention rate hit 92%.
92%. That's a staggering number in any industry. The report said users find it difficult and inconvenient to leave. And why is that? Because they've invested so much time and money into that ecosystem. Their apps, their purchases, the muscle memory. That's the powerful moat the App Store built.
But now here we are talking about tearing that moat down completely, or at least building a brand new, bigger castle right next door.
Well, before we tear it down, I think we need to understand a little technical sidebar, because there is this sort of invisible war happening in the world of software distribution. And it actually explains why agents are so difficult to build right now and why the current systems aren't ready for them.
Okay, let's unpack this. This is the Nix versus APT debate. Now, I know our listeners might start to glaze over at the words package managers, but you have to tell us why this matters to the average person who just wants their agent to book them a flight without any drama.
Okay, so imagine your computer's operating system is a kitchen.
A kitchen, I like it.
In the old way, the APT way, which is what most common Linux systems like Debian and Ubuntu use, you have one big shared pantry. If you want to bake a cake, you put the flour in the pantry. If you want to bake bread later, you use that same bag of flour.
Sounds efficient.
Yeah.
One big bag of flour for everything.
It seems efficient until one recipe needs super fine cake flour version 1.0 and the other needs hearty whole wheat flour version 2.0. In the APT model, you can only have one version of flour in the pantry at a time. So if you upgrade the flour for your bread, you might completely ruin the cake recipe. This is what developers call dependency hell.
That sounds suspiciously like my actual kitchen, to be honest. I'm always missing the one specific kind of paprika I need.
It's a total mess in software. Updates to one program constantly break other, seemingly unrelated programs. Now enter Nix. Nix takes a functional programming approach to this whole problem. In the Nix kitchen, every single recipe gets its own hermetically sealed container with all of its ingredients prepackaged.
So nothing is shared.
Nothing. Each package is stored in its own unique, isolated directory. It's this folder called Nix Store with a long, unique hash code. You can have 50 different versions of flour, all existing side by side, never touching each other, never conflicting.
So nothing ever breaks because no two things share a dependency unless it's literally identical.
Exactly. It's atomic and reproducible. This level of precision is totally invisible to consumers. You just click download. But for agents, it is absolutely critical. If an autonomous agent is going to be pulling in different tools, different libraries, different capabilities on the fly to solve a complex problem for you, it cannot afford dependency hell. The system has to be perfectly reliable. It needs the precision of a system like Nix.
So NICS is basically the food safety and hygiene standard for the future agent kitchen.
That's a great way to put it. It's the philosophical precursor to how agents must manage these incredibly complex dependencies without crashing the whole system.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the history of orchestration, we've got the technical underpinnings for reliability. Now let's get back to the user experience. Why do we even need agents? What is so wrong with apps? I mean, I like my apps. I know where the buttons are.
You like them, but do you like the swivel chair problem?
The what now?
The swivel chair problem. It's an old term from office ergonomics. Imagine you're an office worker back in the 1980s. You have a typewriter on one desk, a calculator on another desk, and a big filing cabinet across the room.
Hold
To get a single report done, you are physically swiveling your chair between these distinct, disconnected stations.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that. You type a bit, swivel, punch in some numbers, swivel back, type some more, then get up and walk to the file cabinet.
That is exactly what you do on your phone every single day. You open your calendar app to check a date, swivel. You close it, you open the airline app to check for flights, swivel. You close that, you open your email to find a confirmation code, swivel. You open your banking app to check your points balance. You, the human, are the command hub. You are the manual glue holding all of these disjointed tools together.
That is painfully accurate. I've never thought of it that way, but I am the manual data entry clerk for my own life.
You are. In the agent model, the AI sits above all the apps. The AI is the orchestrator. You just give it the high-level goal. Book me a flight to London next Tuesday, business class under $2,000, and make sure it's a window seat. The agent is the one who swivels. The agent is the one that opens the calendar API, the airline API, the bank API, and integrates them all.
So the apps themselves become invisible. They're just execution engines or data sources for the agent.
Yes, that's the perfect term for it. They're execution engines. And what's happening is that we are moving from instruction authorship, where you have to write the script of what happens step by step, to intelligence orchestration.
I love that phrase, intelligence orchestration.
It's a real paradigm comparison. Apps are fundamentally rule-based, they're menu-driven, and they're reactive. They just sit there and wait for you to do something.
Right.
Agents are reasoning-based, they're conversational, they're proactive, and they are goal-oriented.
Proactive is the key word there for me. I don't just want my phone to do what I say. I want it to anticipate what I need. I want it to tell me, hey, I noticed you have that meeting in London next week. I found a flight that fits your budget and your seat preference. I'm holding it for you for the next 10 minutes. Should I book it?
Exactly, that's the dream. And to do that, to actually book it, the agent needs to be able to pay for the flight. Which brings us, inevitably, to the money.
The money. This is the part that I think scares people, or at least makes them very nervous. The question is always, does my agent have my credit card number?
It's a totally valid question. And the answer is, our current financial infrastructure, credit cards, banking apps, online checkouts, is built for humans. And in fact, it's built to stop bots. It relies on visual verification.
The KPCHA. Click all the squares with a stoplight to prove you're not a robot.
Which is literally designed to stop an agent from functioning. Or enter the 6-digit code we just texted to your phone. An agent can't easily do that.
Right, so we need a whole new system.
We need a machine-to-machine financial rail, a native, secure way for software to pay other software without a human needing to click on a picture of a bus. And we're starting to see the emergence of protocols designed to do exactly this.
Okay, let's talk about By 402. This sounds like a droid name from Star Wars.
It does, but its name is actually a cool little nod to internet history. You know the famous HTTP error code 404 not found?
Oh yeah, a classic. I see it every day.
Well, in the original web specifications from the 90s, there was another code that was officially reserved, 402 payment required. But it just sat there. It was dormant for decades because we never figured out a native built-in way to send money over the web's base layer. We always had to bolt on third parties like Visa or PayPal on top.
So By 402 is finally waking up that ghost in the machine, that dormant code.
That's the idea. It's a protocol designed to enable autonomous, native crypto transactions within web interactions. The workflow is actually fascinating. You have the agent that wants to buy something. It talks to a facilitator, which is a service that abstracts away all the blockchain complexity, and then that facilitator handles the on-chain settlement, usually in a stablecoin like USDC.
Okay, but why crypto? Why not just have, I don't know, a system where the agent can use a virtual Visa card number?
Two big reasons: speed and size. The traditional credit card networks have minimum transaction fees and settlement times. You can't efficiently send someone 5 cents or 1 cent. but agents will operate in a world of constant micropayments.
What's an example of that?
Maybe an agent needs to pay 1 cent to an API to get the latest stock price, or half a cent to a different API to translate a sentence, or a tenth of a cent to access a single paragraph from a premium news article. The BY 402 protocol allows for these tiny sub-cent micropayments and what's called a paper call model.
That completely changes the subscription model. Instead of paying $20 a month for a service I only use twice, my agent just pays, say, 50 cents for the 2 times I actually use it.
It's a much more efficient and granular model for a machine-to-machine economy.
Yeah.
But it's not just crypto startups. The big traditional players are getting involved too. Just look at Stripe.
Stripe is everywhere. If they're building for this, you know it's real.
They recently launched something called Stripe ACP, which stands for the Agentic Commerce Protocol. They are creating a standardized way for businesses to make their products and services discoverable and purchasable by agents.
So if I sell, I don't know, shoes online, I just integrate Stripe ACP.
And suddenly, an AI agent acting on behalf of a user can read your inventory in a structured way, calculate the correct tax and shipping, and execute a purchase, all without ever seeing or scraping your visual website.
That is massive. That's a whole new sales channel. And Coinbase is doing something similar, right?
Yeah, they're working on agentic wallets, basically plug-and-play wallets that developers can easily drop into their bots and agents so they can hold funds, make payments, and even trade assets. And even Visa is getting in the game, opening up new agent-focused APIs for tokenization and authentication.
It really feels like the foundations of a whole new economy are being laid. The machine-to-machine economy. But this all sounds computationally expensive. Where does this live? I can't imagine running a super high-powered autonomous economic agent on my current phone. The battery would be dead in 10 minutes.
That is the hardware race. And that's the next big question. If apps are going away, or at least becoming invisible in the background, does the phone still need to look like a black rectangle of glass?
That is the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Who are the main contenders trying to build the hardware for this new era?
Well, on one side, you have the ambitious startups that are trying to leapfrog Apple and Google. You've got Rabbit with their R1 device.
The little bright orange square.
The orange square, yeah. It uses what they call a large action model, or LAM, which is designed to learn how to interact with existing app interfaces. It basically tries to learn how to use Spotify or Uber so you don't have to.
And then there's Humane with the AI pin.
Right, the AI pin, a totally different approach, no screen at all. It has a laser projected display that shows up on your hand, and it's all about voice and gesture control.
It feels like the goal for both of them is the same, though. They want to boil the internet down to a single interactive voice.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But honestly, both of those devices, they feel like very early experiments. They've struggled with things like latency, battery life, and overall hardware readiness. But you could see them as the Newton before the iPhone. Important stepping stones.
Speaking of iPhone moments, we absolutely have to mention the Claude episode we did a while back.
Oh man, the Claude bot. That was a moment.
It got renamed to OpenClaw shortly after, but that experience we had, for us, that was a real iPhone moment or ChatGPT moment. It was the first time an AI felt truly agentic.
It really was. It wasn't just answering questions. It was taking actions in a live environment. It felt different, powerful.
Yeah, we even linked to that Lobster installation guide. I really hope some of you out there installed it. I know the name has changed to OpenClaw now, but the installation process and the core philosophy, that raw, direct, agentic interaction with your own machine, stays more or less the same.
It does. And that feeling, that raw power of an agent just going and doing things for you, that is what the hardware giants are chasing now. And the biggest, most anticipated collaboration to watch is the Dream Team.
You're talking about Joni Ive and Sam Altman.
The man who designed the physical form of the iPhone and the man who built the brain of ChatGPT. Ive's design firm, Lovefrom, and Altman's OpenAI. The project is rumored to be called IO, and some reports suggest OpenAI actually acquired the venture in 2025.
What do we know about their design philosophy for this new device?
The phrase that keeps coming up is naive simplicity.
Naive simplicity. That sounds very Joni Ive.
Doesn't it? The report suggests they want to create objects that users want to touch almost carelessly, moving away from these precious glass screens that hijack all of our attention. They're explicitly talking about it as the third core device to come after the PC and the mobile phone.
A device that doesn't demand your attention, but rather handles your intent in the background.
Exactly. A device that listens, acts, and informs, but doesn't distract. Just as Joni Ive defined the form factor of the smartphone era, This partnership aims to define the form factor for the agent era.
So we have the software philosophy, we have the new financial rails, we have the race for the new hardware. But there's one final piece of this puzzle, isn't there? The brain that ties it all together. Or maybe the structure of the brain, the agent operating system.
This is it. This is the ultimate mode. Because what makes an agent OS is fundamentally different from what makes iOS or Windows.
Okay, so Windows or iOS, they manage hardware, right? They make sure the RAM doesn't overflow and the CPU doesn't melt. They allocate resources.
Correct. A classical OS manages physical hardware resources. An agent OS has a much bigger job. It has to manage intelligence and purpose.
Whoa, okay, you have to unpack that for me. Manage intelligence and purpose.
Think about the core components you would need. First, you'd need something called cognitive resource allocation. Instead of allocating CPU cycles, the OS is allocating reasoning time and context windows. It has to decide, does this problem need our big, expensive, slow-thinking model like a GPT-4, or can it be handled by the cheap, fast reflex model?
It's literally budgeting brain power.
Exactly. Second, you need the orchestration layer. This is what decomposes those high-level goals. If you say, plan my family's summer vacation to Italy, the orchestration layer breaks that down into dozens of subtasks. It says, okay, I need a research agent to find hotels in Rome and Florence. I need a booking agent to reserve the flights and train tickets. And I need a payment agent to handle all the transactions. It coordinates them like a project manager.
Like a conductor leading an orchestra of specialized agents.
Precisely. Third, and this is absolutely crucial for safety and trust, you need a zero-trust microkernel. This ensures that agents can only execute within strict, predefined contracts. You don't want your flight booking agent to suddenly have access to your private health records. The kernel's job is to enforce those boundaries with an iron fist.
And the final piece.
The final, and maybe the most important piece, is semantic memory. This is the big one. Your phone today doesn't really remember you in a meaningful way. It stores photos and files, but it has no real context. An agent OS, on the other hand, would index your life semantically. It remembers that you hate aisle seats on planes, or that your anniversary is next month and you should probably book a restaurant, or that you're trying to cut back on carbs. It maintains continuity and personalization across every single interaction.
So it's not just a smarter chatbot. It's a unified, secure, personalized infrastructure for your entire digital existence. The winner of this race, they aren't just building a new gadget.
They're building the operating system for the next era of human-computer interaction.
That's a heavy thought, but also a fascinating one.
I think it's the final logical evolution of Steve Jobs' original vision.
How so? Connect those dots for me.
Jobs always talked about interpersonal computing and building bicycles for the mind, tools that would amplify human capability. For the last decade, the economic model of the internet hasn't really been about that. It's been about attention.
The attention economy. Doom scrolling. Keeping your eyes glued to the screen for as long as possible to serve you more ads.
Exactly. The agent store completely flips that model. It shifts the entire axis of economic value away from attention and toward intent. The value is no longer in how long you look at something. The value is in getting something done for you as efficiently as possible. The entire digital economy is being re-architected for machine-mediated transactions at a scale and frequency that would be impossible for humans to manage manually.
From a world of staring at screens to a world of getting your time and your life back, that's a very hopeful vision.
It is. It's optimistic for sure. But the technology is moving incredibly fast, and all these pieces are falling into place.
Well, to everyone listening, this story is still unfolding. We are literally watching the foundation of this new world being poured in real time. And because of that, we want to know what you think. Is the agent store the liberation from digital chores we all need, or are we just going to end up with more annoying, invasive bots?
Are we being too optimistic? Or are we being too critical and missing some even bigger potential?
Let us know in the comments on whatever platform you're on, or, if you're an agent listening to this a few years from now, send us a micropayment with your feedback attached.
I'm sure that feature's coming sooner than we think.
We're calling out to all the tech futurists, the crypto natives, the AI geeks listening to this. Collaborate with us. This is a community effort to try and understand the future as it happens.
Absolutely. The more eyes on this, the better.
As always, keep searching. Keep the quest on.
Keep the quest on. I'm Satosha.
And I'm Satoshi.